Okay. Hello, participants funneling in. We are going to, like every webinar ever, wait 2 or 3 minutes, allow people to show up, and then we're going to hit it. As people are coming in, people who are attendees, can y'all write in where you're coming from? Like, where in the world are you in the chat? New York, what up? Chicago, cool. Panelists too. You got to write in where you are so everyone knows. Mitch, what's up?
Hey, everybody, how are you this morning?
We are great. I just let all of the people showing up know, like every webinar ever, we're going to wait a couple minutes for everyone to show up and then get rolling. Cool. Boston. I'm also in Boston. Let's add, just for fun, favorite summer activity. What are things that you like to do in the summer? Apparently nothing. No one likes summer. Okay. You hate summer. Great. Roller skating. That's awesome. Mountain biking with you there. I have to admit, I've never been roller skating. I've been roller blading, but like the 4 wheels, it's a new thing. All right, we're gonna start at 2:04. I don't like waiting that long, as everyone can probably tell. So in about a minute and a half, we're gonna let it rip. What I like to do. Both of those things. Tom, we'll have to go riding sometime since we're near each other.
Yeah.
We also probably need some like background music to make this fun. Don't know how to do that. Let me see what I can. I have 1 minute to figure it out. Question is, what should I play? Because I probably am going to play stuff that no one else likes. How about this one? Can y'all hear this?
No.
Damn. Well, too bad. It's about 2:04. Pretend like you're listening to Can I Kick It by a Tribe Called Quest, because that's what's playing right now for you. All right, let's rip this thing. Okay. Welcome everybody to this webinar. We are very happy to have you. Just like they tell you where you're going on a plane, as a reminder, this webinar is about maximizing sales this holiday season. The subtitle is Using Real-Time Behavioral Data to Drive Conversions, something that I think we are all thinking about all the time. So today, during this webinar, it's our goal to make sure that you learn 3 different things that you can take some specific actionable items away and use this week if you want. One is, what is customer first data and why it's so important to collect it? 2 is ways that you can collect it, specific tactics that you can employ for your store. And then the 3rd is ways you can use that data once you collect it to help you drive more revenue and more sales. I am Jake. I work at Klaviyo. I will be your moderator today. It is my job to make sure that we get you the information that you came for, and to get that by having our lovely panelists give it to you. So I'm going to have each of our panelists do a quick introduction. Team, I'd like you to please share, number 1, what is your name? Number 2, what do you do at your company? Number 3, a short sentence, quick, brief elevator pitch on what your company does so people have context. And I want you to tell us your favorite candy growing up. We will start with Rich.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Happy to be here. So my name is Rich Hanna. I am a data architect at Shogun. A lot of merchants within the realm of Shopify and BigCommerce know us for our page builder product, which is a drag and drop builder. We actually have since been putting a lot of our efforts into building a headless platform, which is essentially a front end for your Shopify platform that actually makes your site faster and leads to higher conversions based on site speed and things like that. So yeah, I think my favorite candy growing up would have to be, gosh, probably Pop Rocks, honestly. Yeah.
Do you ever like drink Coca-Cola with them? They get,
Yeah. So I tried that a few times. Big mistake, but it was yeah. I would have to definitely have to go with Pop Rocks.
All right, love it. Cool. Jillian, tell us about you.
Nice to meet everyone. My name is Jillian Carlucci. I am a member of the Klaviyo team. I'm actually on the customer education interactive team. So we host webinars and events and teach our great customers how to use the platform best for their needs and business goals. It's a bit of a trick question, Jake, because I am also from Klaviyo, but I would describe Klaviyo just as a customer data platform. We want our customers, creators to just own their growth. So communicate at scale, understand their data, all that good stuff. You can do it in Klaviyo. And for me, for candy, so I wouldn't even say this is just a favorite childhood candy. I still love Skittles, and I will eat them any day of the week, starting in the morning. Just love Skittles.
You and my son would get along. He likes Starbursts. There's usually like chocolate people and then like fruit kind of people. So you're one of those. Sounds awesome. Mitch, tell us about you.
Hey, everybody. Mitch McKay. I'm the Global Marketing Technology Partnership Lead for BigCommerce. We're an open SaaS-based e-commerce platform, and so we specialize in helping merchants grow at every stage of their life cycle. When I was a kid, I loved Mike and Ike. It's a very Midwest candy, so somebody give me a shout out if you know.
Wait, the green ones or the pink ones?
See, you're deep in the game. They had purple ones. They were grape. They didn't make them anymore. Grape was like the holy grail, but I'd settle for green.
Wow. All right, Tom, we're going to find out if you're a chocolate guy. Let us know.
Deal. Hey, everyone. I'm Tom Coburn. I'm co-founder and CEO at Jebbit. We're a platform for brands to make interactive experiences like quizzes that capture zero-party data. So if you've ever been on a website and seen a answer 5 questions to find the right candy for you, we power those types of things. And yes, Jake, Reese's. So
oh yeah,
to add to the mix.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. I think mine was probably peanut M&Ms. Kind of boring, but pretty classic. Got to throw it in there. Okay, so for all of the attendees here, as we kind of alluded to earlier, this is for you. We are spending this time to make sure you have this information. So I would really, really like it if you added all sorts of questions in the chat. There's never a bad time to do it. We will try to get to all of them. I will interrupt and blow up this whole thing to make sure that we give you what you're looking for. So the more vocal and curious you are, the more useful we can be. So please don't be shy. But in lieu of that, there are 5 questions that we're going to focus on answering that will get you the things that you're looking for. And so what I'm going to do is ask these questions and we'll go around and people will answer. Okay, so for the first question, one of the things that I want to make sure we level set on is what there's all these types of data, zero data, first party data, customer first data. Like what the heck are we talking about? What are all these different things and what is customer first data? Who wants to take a first crack at this?
I can jump in. So the way we think about this at Jebbit, I mean, customer first data, I think is really just the term for wanting to put your customers first and respect them and get data from them with their consent and kind of in line with all the new privacy legislation that's coming out. The way we think about it at Jebbit is, customer first data means it's first party data. You're getting it right from your customers. And within first party data, there's really 3 types. There's the transactional data, looking at what people have bought from you. There's the behavioral data, looking at everything they've clicked on your website and your apps, et cetera. And then there's what we call declared data, first party declared data, or many people are calling it zero party data. It's really the same thing. And so the differentiation to me, transaction and behavioral is inferred. You watch what people do, and then you have to make inferences about what those actions mean. So maybe I bought a new mountain bike, and maybe that's for me, or maybe it's for you, Jake, as a great Christmas present or something like that.
A gift. Yeah. Wow.
Until we actually talk to the person and ask them about their preferences and interests. And so the niche that Jebbit's carving out is around the zero-party data, or this explicitly given data, where you actually get a consumer to stop what they're doing in their busy life and tell you a few things about themselves explicitly.
Cool. Can someone else around here give us some examples of what customer first data or zero-party data and or first-party data looks like, in addition to what Tom shared?
I can hop in here too, because this is kind of what lives in Klaviyo. So yeah, hopping off what Tom said, information that we collect about the person that they freely give to us. And the great thing about that is that we're in control of that person's privacy. So very different than the third-party data world out there, everybody, where we are potentially just buying data from other people or leveraging other sources. We have a direct relationship with the person, with the subscriber. We basically need to protect that data, and we need to take that super seriously. So wanted to just harp on the differences as well between this data and third-party data.
Okay, and just real quick, why is it so important to protect the data of individual consumers?
Wouldn't you want your data protected? You know, we just have to put ourselves in their shoes. Obviously, we're all consumers, but with this landscape, it's changing. Data policy is really evolving. Different states have it, different countries have different regulations. You want to be in control of housing that data and making sure it's as secure as possible.
Totally. I think another thing to add to that, there's obviously incremental legislation that's coming that is penalizing brands that are discovered for not sufficiently protecting data. So using a platform like any of the ones mentioned here is obviously useful, because all of us invest a lot to make sure that data is well maintained and secure. Okay, cool. So that's helpful. We got that figured out. Now that we know what all of this types of data is in contrast to third-party data, and we have good examples of what those kind of look like, I guess my question for all of you is why is it so important to collect more and more of this customer first data, and why should we do it now? Let's start with Mitch on this one, because I know you had some thoughts on it before.
Yeah, absolutely. So when information about customers getting collected through a channel that merchant owns, it just means that brand can use that data from interactions, purchase history, behavior, preferences to create ads, content, experiences based on that shopper's interests. So that means it's going to complement, enhance, and reduce the need for other types of data. A really good example of that would be consumer first explicit zero-party data for ladies golf. So that's one of our BigCommerce merchants who's actually a Klaviyo customer as well. So they specialize in fashion apparel brand. They use behavior, purchase history, loyalty status to create really targeted marketing strategies. And so one of the things our founder honed in on was customer segmentation. She said that it allowed for more effective communications, which meant better ROI from your marketing campaigns. And I love Jessica's quote. She said, running a business by yourself is like looking through a kaleidoscope. There's a million different things spinning around you. And then her summary was that an optimized data strategy allowed her to leverage it, engage with VIP customers, discount shoppers, and then build brand loyalty while driving profitability. I thought that was powerful.
That's super cool. Are you guys, Rich and Tom, are you seeing similar use cases or similar examples from some of the customers that are using your platforms?
I was going to see if Rich wanted to go, but yes. I mean, the short answer, aside from the privacy legislation, to add on to what Mitch was saying, like using customer first data also just works better. I mean, we see this all the time when people capture zero-party data and then use it to personalize the next email they send you, or to better target a Facebook ad or whatever it might be. They're often seeing 30, 40, 50% lifts in conversion rate. And so, yes, it obviously takes more work to get data directly from your customers versus just buying third-party data. But that's why you have all the platforms like everyone here on the call today that are helping people do this, and do it even if you are just a one-person business and don't have a lot of resources.
Yeah, sorry. I clicked the little caret next to the mute button and switched my microphone. So I didn't get on mute there. Yeah, so in context of kind of what we do and how we work with our merchants, it's a little bit different, I think. And the importance of collecting first party data and customer first data is obviously around like the importance of like all the privacy laws that are coming down and things like that. But it makes your data better. There's a lot of other issues around, like cookies and things like that will cause lifetime values to be messed up in like a lot of your analysis, right? And so first party data is a good fix for a lot of that. Customer first data is a good fix for a lot of that. And it gets pretty complex under the hood. But just knowing that that is a direction you can go if you want to actually fix the problem of not having, lifetime values that are actually accurate.
Jillian, I have to imagine there are some Klaviyo customers doing some interesting things with data collected directly from consumers. Do you have any examples that come to mind that you can share to illustrate this for people?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this probably has a lot to do with Tom's point as well. It's like, where is your future revenue coming from? It could be really challenging to continue to bring in like top of funnel, pay for third party, pay for Facebook, pay for Google ads. And like, you have no idea what that budget's going to look like 6 months from now, 12 months from now. So let's think about where else can we get revenue. And for most customers, it's from their VIP audiences. So some of the best segments you can build in Klaviyo, and a segment just is a definition. It's an audience that you craft yourself. Best way to do this is to build a VIP audience. So who's placed orders recently or within a certain threshold of time? Is that revenue over a certain amount? You're basically building what can be really, really valuable people in your brand. And you want to communicate with them often and in a very, very personal way. So great examples could be just sending early access product drops to those folks who like purchased something really similar 3 months ago. And wow, that would look really great with what you purchased last season. And we have all that data in Klaviyo. So taking advantage of the segment builder and sending really targeted email campaigns or even SMS.
Got it. Okay, cool. So I think I understand now what this data is, and I think I understand why it's important to do it, readily, collect more of it readily and now, because it's going to give me opportunities to increase my revenue. And I think I have a feel for different ways that I can go use it, mostly, as Mitch and Jillian pointed out, in my marketing activities to have more targeted and relevant communications. Like, super helpful. That's good. My question is, there are different companies that have different size teams, and people aren't just sitting around with nothing to do. So how should we think about, how to plan for collecting more data? What should be the organization of my teams? What should be the responsibilities that I give different people so that we take best practices and put them to work so we can actually collect this data and use it to make our marketing activities and general activities more efficient?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in here if I could. So I think for a lot of merchants that are out there, a lot of companies that are out there, everybody from, the small mom and pop shop that's just starting out to, the big $1 billion brands that are out there, like everybody, like data is a challenge, right? Like it's just different challenges, like different levels of challenge. And so, as you're growing and scaling, just understanding that getting the right people in place to begin with and starting with, people that are highly skilled at kind of this black box area of data is key. And that way they can be able to build that foundation and, bring people up that are able to implement, clean data collection and things like that. There is, it's kind of an intersection between engineering, at least in my world specifically, but there's an intersection between engineering and business, and data is kind of like right in there. And so it takes people that are both data driven, but actually, that lean more towards the business side, but then like engineering driven as well. And so, at least in the realm of building websites and platforms and things like that, it's extremely important from that perspective, and that's where I think a lot of tools like Jebbit and Klaviyo that kind of handle all that stuff for you is really important. So making sure that you're not just getting the right people in place, but getting the right tools to actually help you succeed in what you're doing as well.
Tom, Jillian, how do people organize their teams to use these platforms well?
I would just add that if we're talking about zero-party data specifically, you actually really need a creative mind focused on it, because you need some type of experience on the front end that's going to convince a consumer to stop what they're doing for a minute or two and engage with you. And so, yeah, for a lot of like behavioral and transactional data, it's more like back-end data analytics minds. You need to tag everything and make sure data is flowing into the right place and flowing into a platform like Klaviyo. But if I'm going to build a quiz for my website, and we'll stick with the mountain bike analogy of like, find the right mountain bike for you, what I really need is that creative mind who understands like, what's the conversation we'd have with the person in store. If I was a rep at REI and someone walked into the store and said, I'm looking for a mountain bike, you'd ask them a series of 3, 4, 5 questions to figure out what product to recommend to them. And so, we've worked really hard to make a platform that's easy to use, but you still need to bring that creative mind to it of like, how am I going to greet this customer? What am I going to ask them? And what paths am I going to take them down based on the questions that we ask?
Yeah, I would harp on that too. It's really understanding the customer first in layman's terms. Just understand, what are my different customers? Do I have different personas, people that buy different types of things, different tendencies? And then from there, leverage a tool like Klaviyo or like Rich and his team to make sure that you have those paths built in your technology. But first, you got to do the research. Just a quick way to do it could be even a simple survey to that VIP audience that I keep talking about. Like, hey, if these people are super engaged with your brand, I'm sure they're going to tell you a little bit more about who they are, where they shop, what their thought process is, and then potentially even interview them too. Very simple to just reach out, ask if they want to have a conversation, and then you take that human approach, build it in your platforms.
Cool. Mitch, do you know, or anyone, like, what are like, it's always incremental. There's always more to do and there's never more people. So like, who are the creative people that tend to step up and do survey design? Who are the people that, Rich, tend to look at the data as it's coming in and apply it to their marketing programs? Do you guys have a feel for that?
Mitch, do you want to go first, or you want me to?
I think Rich is talking. His mic's just off. Go for it, Rich.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I think for just ensuring that the right people are looking at the data and making, actionable decisions and things like that. It always starts for obviously making sure that you have clean data. I have a saying that no data is better than bad data. Yeah. Because you're more likely to put all your eggs in the data basket, and then 6 months down the road, you find out, oh, but this data is actually bad, right? So, like making sure that you first got the right people to set it up for you and things like that. But just making sure that the people that are actually doing the analysis, have a direction. They understand what the product is that you have, like the product, like going towards like product market fit, right? Making sure that all of your the data that you're collecting and the analysis that they're running is actually in alignment and working towards these the fit of what your product is, and so I think that starts again with like having the right people in place at the beginning, the manager of analytics or senior analyst or something like that. And again, this is in just the realm of kind of where I'm at, specifically on the analyst side of things, but it could be different for Jebbit and BigCommerce as well.
No, I feel the exact same way, because that's the goal, is somebody that understands the data and has a full picture of the quality of that data, and then mirroring that with somebody from the marketing team and the business side, then make hard, clear-cut decisions. Because it starts with confidence in somebody who built out your data approach. Because for BigCommerce, that's part of us being open API philosophy. It means you can have your different data silos and have that overarching view of the customer journey, but then you have team members that are going to action on it and put business rationale behind it. And that's where the ROI comes in. So leading with the analytics side, agreed.
Okay.
Or I was just going to add quickly, Jake, when it comes to actually using the data that's collected, we often see 2 paths. It's normally either a CRM person or an email marketing manager that's in a platform like Klaviyo setting up segmented emails based on what we learned about somebody in a quiz. or it's bringing the data to platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, et cetera, and using the data to create audiences. That's often done by an agency. Like a lot of our brands have a performance marketing, social agency that knows how to turn all the dials on those platforms and does it. But of course, we have some customers where, it's an in-house media person that's actually, setting that up to get the data, out of Jebbit and used on those platforms.
Okay, so a little recap. Obviously, it depends on the size of your business. If you're like a 1 or 3 person shop versus like a 200-person company, you're going to have different specialization and therefore different amounts of people that can work on different things. But generally speaking, what it sounds like I'm hearing is, hey, look, if you think about how you're going to use this data, whether it's building great segments or personalizing some of your email or targeting some of your ads more specifically, understanding what options exist, you can get your ideal, use of that data first, which can then inform what questions you ask or what information you look for. So you can connect the dots is like the right way to go. And so it probably takes someone who's working on the emails, someone who's working on the ads to go list out the stuff that they wish they had from a data perspective. And then somebody who's working on the data side to say, cool, these are the fields that we'll need. And then go back to that person who's working on the email and the ads and help them come up with a sort of human approach survey that they can put up on your website to start to collect that information. Okay, hopefully for the audience that was helpful. And you're either doing that perfectly, high five, or you can take some of that and start to make some tweaks to your team so that you can start to take the right action. Okay, next question, fourth question. We've got BigCommerce, which is an e-commerce platform. We've got Shogun, which is a page builder. We've got Jebbit, which is a forums tool that will help you collect information. And we've got Klaviyo, which is a customer data platform, takes all the stuff in and allows you to use it for your marketing. This stuff has to work together, right? Like, what do each of y'all do to help independent brands collect this information, use this information? How can they learn from what you offer?
I can lead because it tees y'all up for success.
Let's go.
For us, that's the open element, open SaaS, meaning you can build a tech stack on BigCommerce that's unique to your business needs. So from data warehouse, BI tools, customer data platforms, analytic personalization solutions, the goal is to get that holistic view of your business. And they're all going to have direct integrations into BigCommerce, which means you can pull that store data and push it out to as many integrated partner solutions as y'all want.
I can jump in because we at Jebbit have tapped into at least the BigCommerce and Klaviyo APIs, which we'll have to talk about what we do with you guys at Shogun soon. But so like you can build a quiz and you can embed it right on a BigCommerce page. And then as people go in and answer the questions, you can pull in your BigCommerce product feed and just automatically add products right to the cart. So we're just trying to provide this consultative shopping experience that makes it easier for you to add products to your cart. And then as they're going through the quiz, you can ask for an email and then automatically send the email address and all the attributes, all the data points you got in the quiz right into Klaviyo, and now have segments set up in there to send personalized emails. So it's a great way to like meet a first-time site visitor that lands on your BigCommerce page and you don't know anything about them, drive a sale in the moment and capture their email and data on them and be able to start, sending those personalized emails or retargeted ads over time.
Yeah, and I think Shogun. So we obviously being a page builder, that's what we became popular for 3-4 years ago. Now we are one of the leading headless providers out there, and so what we do is we integrate with directly with the BigCommerce store API, and so we're able to pull products in directly from BigCommerce, and same with some other platforms that are out there. And one of the things that we do is we actually have an internal team that will help get everything set up on the Shogun side of things, like Klaviyo or Jebbit, to be able to integrate all of these same features that are directly in the BigCommerce app store or something like that. And so, but one of the things that you're getting is you're actually getting like increased benefit of site speed, which leads to higher conversion rates. Right? There's studies out there, like Google has done studies of every 1.3 milliseconds that last contentful page is actually improved, you can expect an increase in conversions, right? And so it's it's something that we've worked hard to make sure that when a customer is migrating all over from just having strictly the platform over to headless, that they don't lose any of that data. They don't lose any of that third-party marketing. And we're one of the only headless providers out there that actually does that, because it's a pretty big challenge to meet. And honestly, it's one of the things that, as a lot of merchants try to migrate over to a headless platform, they find out later that, hey, my Klaviyo app doesn't work anymore in Shopify or BigCommerce because it's a brand new site, right? And so we're one of the few that actually handles a lot of that data collection and things like that.
Okay, cool. And Jillian, what can Klaviyo do to help collect and use this customer first data for people?
Yeah, so I think Klaviyo can be the endpoint in the sense of that we take all of this great data directly from your customers, house it in Klaviyo, and then we can communicate at scale. So we can create automations where we have someone fills out that great bike quiz. We've got our road bikers on one side and our mountain bikers on the other. Let's give mountain bike info to those people, create a little split for them, give them content that's super relevant for them. And that's in Klaviyo, we think about these as profile properties or data that lives on a profiles page, which then we can use for future marketing. So you have the automation that happens when the event comes into Klaviyo, and then we can also say, what does my mountain bike audience look like? Let me tell them about 5 trails to mountain bike this fall, and I can send them a campaign that's super valuable. So really great way to automate communication and then take the communication into your own hands and provide a ton of value to your subscribers.
Cool. That's awesome. Okay. Holidays are on everyone's mind right now. It's August. Feels like the holidays are always around the corner, but now they really are. Do you each have examples of specific brands collecting specific pieces of information that you think are just cool or interesting that people could draw inspiration from as they prepare for their holiday efforts? Up for grabs.
Yeah, we had a jewelry brand do an awesome holiday gift finder quiz. So not a quiz for what you're going to buy for yourself, but a quiz for what you might buy for that significant other. And in it, they obviously ask things about your significant other's preferences and what your relationship status was with them and things like that. But then what they also did that I thought was really smart is they asked when your significant other's birthday was. Ooh. And the reason they were doing it is they kind of knew, I actually went through their quiz and bought a ring for my girlfriend. Not an engagement ring. I guess I should have clarified that at the time, but just a nice ring for her that she would enjoy. And when they asked me about her birthday, now they know that they can hit me up right before Christmas and right before her birthday. And they know that those are the 2 good times a year to reach me, because I'm probably going to ignore most of their other emails for the rest of the year. And so that was just something where it's just a couple little data points that they get that can now help transform their entire communication strategy with me for the rest of the year. Because if they were hitting me with a weekly or monthly email, I'm probably going to unsubscribe after a while. But because they've been really respectful on that, I've gained a lot of respect for them as a brand, and I'm more likely to engage with them.
And brownie points at home, which is useful.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyone else? Other examples?
I have a cool SMS example. Klaviyo offers SMS as a communication channel. And we also really want to lean into what are the benefits of SMS? And when we think about the holidays, be the first to know about a deal, get it texted right to you. Especially if there could be limited quantity or limited count. I've seen a cool example of a customer sending an email campaign out saying, do you want first access to our product drops? Click here to subscribe for texts, and then obviously capture their SMS consent, but use one channel to promote the elusiveness of another channel, and then make that person feel super special that they're going to get front of the line, top of the list for when those product drops happen with limited quantity.
That's awesome. Also, because I've heard lots of merchants ask about when should I be using SMS? When should I not? What are good use cases? And that's an interesting one where you can reduce how many you send overall, which will keep your bills down, but you can maximize the experience that you offer your best customers, which can help increase revenue. So that's a cool idea. Rich Mitch?
Yeah, I've got, Go ahead, Mitch.
Awesome, thanks. My mom's 60th is actually on the weekend, and so as I was
Happy
prepping
birthday.
yeah, as I was prepping for this webinar, I was on ladies golf, and my mom's a huge golfer. And what was interesting is, so I start looking through products, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. But you're looking through 5 different things, and what's interesting is that website activity engagement element, I think, is awesome, because they have a little widget that shows recently viewed items. And so for me, they took my intent, then they gave a personal field of the session, and then I could add those items directly into cart. That's the type of shopper experience I want, and it works. I brought 3 things, so I'm a fan of that.
Okay, so you went in planning to buy 1 and you walked out buying 3. That is a heck of a way to grow a cart.
When you're the older sibling, yeah, you got to go
You got to
hard.
show up. That's awesome.
I think one of the big examples would be a customer that we had that collected first party data, customer first data, right? Improved their lifetime values, kind of similar to what I was talking about earlier. We're able to go back and apply personalization campaigns and run campaign support on the actual website itself, right? And so they're able to shift content. They're able to provide the relevant content to the specific users based on that we're coming to the store. If, you know, they didn't have those lifetime values or those values had expired over, 7 days or something like that, or what have you, they wouldn't have been as successful in that regard, because it's when a user comes back to the sites, in some instances, like, it looks like a brand new user to a lot of the personalization tools that are out there, right? And so collecting that customer first data was key in that regard, and they had a pretty significant lift throughout that Black Friday, Cyber Monday season.
Super cool. Okay, I have 2 more questions just to give everyone a pulse check on where we're at. First question is, holidays around the corner. When should I, as a brand, start either upping my effort to collect more data, or even just start collecting more data if my goal is to maximize revenue this holiday season? Is it too late? When is too late? When should I be hustling?
Now.
Now. Okay. Why now?
I don't think it's ever too late. I mean, you can just go run a form or a survey or a quiz or anything tomorrow and start getting data, and you can literally turn around and use that data the next day. So I think it's been a theme throughout this whole conversation, Jake, is like, it doesn't matter how big your brand is or how many resources you have. There's tons of tools out there to engage your customers and get customer first data. And there's really simple ways you can use it. I think a lot of the people we talk to get overwhelmed with like, oh, there's 50 things I could ask and there's 17 ways I could use it. And, oh my gosh, but like, as Jillian said earlier, like, just create one segment of VIPs, just get 1 data point or 2 data points that know this is a segment for me and start using it. And I mean, it's the cliche crawl, walk, run strategy, but it's a cliche for a reason.
Yeah, I would say it's never too late. I would agree, definitely now. Try to grow that list, grow that subscriber list prior to the holidays, but be really cognizant of what the message is. So if you are, and now we keep hitting on the mountain bike example, but maybe change the wording a little bit of that. Like, in terms of like gearing up for Cyber Weekend, or like, what are the ways in which you can make it specifically valuable for people to give their information now? So yeah, we would say with Klaviyo, if you're using something like a sign up form or a pop-up or whatever, change the marketing language on that to be poignant in terms of leading up to the holidays. Be the first to know, join the list, get exclusive offers and updates, versus just a traditional message. And also, if you do have automations in play, make sure that content is also not stale. Like, if more people are coming into your list right now because we're anticipating more traffic on the website, like, make the best impression in that welcome series or that automation, because this is like the first time those shoppers are going to have a holiday season with you. Let's maybe spend a little bit more time on that content to make a good impression.
Okay, so that's the last question. That's where I want to kind of like dig in and end. Mitch, really everyone kind of said like, hey, look, the be all end all of collecting all this data are the experiences that you can go put in front of your existing customers and prospects, right? It's like kind of the marketing thing. So Jillian, help us with like tactical specifics. Are there, you started to allude to like your welcome series could be different based on the information you can collect. You gave us a VIP example for SMS. Is there like branching opportunities and flows? Is there cross-sell? Is there specific segments that you've seen? Like give us some specific things that we can go try in any marketing platform, but obviously with your experience in Klaviyo.
Yeah, so I think starting with the welcome series, did you collect any personal data within that lead magnet? So if we collected maybe preferences, tastes, etc., you have to make sure the content is routed so that the person who says mountain bike gets mountain bike and the person who says road gets road. So that's definitely one thing. Also, like you probably know how long it takes for someone, like what's your average sales cycle? We're trying to accelerate that. So how can we offer a personal touch? Do you need a consultation with one of our bike mechanics? Like try to shrink that time in which we get the initial lead and then that person closes. So keep specific content, keep in mind educational materials. For me too, when I think about segments, like the opposite of a VIP segment, so someone who's like placed a lot of orders, spent a lot of money, could be a window shopper segment. So people that are really, really active. If before Mitch ended up pulling the trigger today on the ladies golf stuff, like he left, he would be a window shopper. And I would say like, hey, Mitch, what are you waiting for? So you can think about like those, like what's your low hanging fruit? And window shoppers is a huge one to call out because those are the people that know your brand, love your brand, but the last statement has not placed an order. So how do we get them over the finish line? So try to understand who's bought and who hasn't and how we can help them complete that purchase.
Awesome. Tactical specifics are very helpful. Okay, any other things that people want to add, key takeaways or sort of lasting impressions you want to leave with anyone before I summarize what we learned today?
Building off of what Jillian said is when you have people that hadn't made a purchase yet or they're window shopping, there's still intent there. They're engaging with your brand. And so a really good way to push them over the edge is the fact that a market automation platform integrates with loyalty and reviews. So if you already have a customer segment built, automatically porting in reviews for other people that have bought and loved a product in that customer segment, you're giving people confidence. And that's what we all want. Help you make a good decision.
Love that. Tom, Rich, anything you want to throw in? Good to go. Okay, sweet. So some key things that stood out to me. I think we should have a summary, I think that we'll send to everyone. But some key things that stood out to me. Number one, the idea of starting with the experiences that you want to augment first, whether that's better targeting in your ads or specific personalization in your emails or SMS, and then using that to inform what your surveys or your on-site collection opportunities would be. Really helpful. I like the idea of writing that out so all the people who are looking at it can see what they have to do and stitch those things together so they work. That's super cool. I love the explanation that everyone gave on how you can have an e-commerce platform where you can put something headless on top to help things go fast, use a forms collector like Jebbit to start to collect things that you understand well, and then use a marketing platform to house all that data and use it. Oh, dream stack. If only everything worked so perfectly together, that would be amazing. And then I think the other big thing that stood out to me is there's no time like the present. It's never a bad time to collect more information. It doesn't degrade the on-site experience. If anything, it helps your customers feel more connected and more heard by your brand when you can ask them poignant questions and then use it in your communications that follow up. We heard some great examples from Jillian on how to take your best customers and make them feel even more special, and how to take new people who have a new experience with your brand and show that you're listening from the get-go so that they're more interested in hearing you. And you can get as extreme as Tom shared, where you can actually ask for, when do you think you'll be buying stuff? So you can curate your communication strategy to make sure you hit people at just the right time. So hopefully everyone here is already doing all of that stuff and all of your marketing is perfect and there's no way to squeeze more juice out of the lemon. But in the event that there's something that you can do, hopefully some of those things will give you some ideas and inspiration that you can try and iterate and put out there. The last thing that I'll leave with everyone that I always think about and run into, you don't need to be perfect when you start. One of the coolest things about marketing, one of the coolest things about on-site experiences is that there's a lot of people that come often. And so it's worth coming up with a hypothesis, putting it on your site, running it for a few days, seeing how it happens, and then iterating and tweaking your way towards where you want to be instead of trying to be perfect out of the gate. Because let's face it, we're humans. We're not perfect. We mess things up all the time. But if we come with the right intentions and we try, things usually end up the way that we need. So I hope that's helpful. Thank you to Rich and Mitch and Jillian and Tom. I really appreciate the insights that you brought and the insider knowledge that you shared with us. To all the attendees, thank you for taking time in the middle of your day to listen to this. And we hope that you were able to take something useful away and put it to work at your brands. And with that, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Look out for follow-ups, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks. See ya.
Thank you.